In this video, we're going to talk about polymorphism, one of the interesting features in object-oriented programming, right? In the meantime, you already know most probably that polymorphism means polymorph. If I split that in this way, poly means many, morph means forms, right? So polymorphism means many forms. Many forms of what? There the question comes, isn't it? So for example, let me take an application and make you understand here. Say in this solution, let me adjust quickly a new project which is going to be a console application, and I give its name as polymorphism demo. Okay, and in this polymorphism demo, I'm just say in this application itself adding one more class file here, and you have seen me writing class files in separate library always, but this time I'm creating as part of the console application itself. Say here I'm saying that my class name is addition, right? So there it goes. I have declared a class, and since it's part of the same class, same application, being internal will not impact it, as because it is accessible from the main function still, right? So within the same application, you can access internal class from other class. Right now, in this addition class, I do have certain functionalities. Say, for example, public void add, and in that add, I have declared integer x and integer y, two different arguments, and I'm going to print the value of x plus y here, right? Now, this is to add just two integers. Let me just copy it and paste it few more times. One, that this is another function, add, same name, but look at this, there is a slight difference, and that is this time I made a difference between two add methods by the number of arguments that it accepts. Then I'm going to copy and paste it once again, and this time I'm going to make a difference once again, and that is going to be, say, for example, long z. Now these two are same, but there is a slight difference, and that is not in the number of arguments but in the data type of the arguments, correct? So I'm just going to add z also here now. Now next is I'm just going to copy and paste this function once again, and just making a small change here. Say, for example, this is long y and this is int z. Now look at the difference between the third and the fourth function. They are ditto same, more or less. They have the similar number of arguments and the data types are also same, but the order of those arguments are different, isn't it? Now surprisingly, I'm able to now invoke these calculation classes. Sorry, my mistake, it's not calculation class, it's addition class. So addition is equal to new addition, and in that addition class dot, I'm going to call this add method. It shows three overloads. What does that mean? That means the class has allowed me to write the same function total 4 times. First one is this, and 3 more times also. It didn't create any problem, as because I know very well, and you guys also know, that the same function cannot be written inside the class multiple times, but it's allowing me, right? So I have an add function with multiple forms. One form takes 2 arguments, the other 3 forms take both, all of them take 3 arguments each, but again, them also there is a difference. The first one in that series takes 3 arguments where all the data types are integer, but the next two takes the similar 3 arguments but data types are different, and again between the last two, the order of the arguments are different. So I can conclude that in a class I can write same functionality again and again with the same name, but by making difference in number one, in number of arguments, number two, in data type of arguments, number three, in order of those arguments how they are written. So what is this? It's a polymorphism. Polymorphism, yes, because I have written multiple form of the same function add inside the addition class, right? So now if you call and pass these 12 and 13, you can easily guess which function is being invoked. This is the first one being invoked, because now compiler knows that this is the function going to be called, as because it takes 2 arguments. Again, if I pass here, now that is going to be a bit interesting. If I call add function and pass 12, 13 and 14, you might wonder which function might be called. So in general it will be calling this function, as because this is matching first, although rest of them do match, but out of which this one matches first, right? But what about other functions? Obviously you can call them, and say for example if you are passing 12, 13, and then like this kind of long value, okay, then let's see which function is being called. Again, I'm going to just press F11 to show you line by line execution, but before that let me set this application as a startup project. So F11, and say now you're creating the instance of this class first, then you are calling that function. Look at where the call goes. The second one, 13, 14, and this is the function being called. The last one, which function is being called? The last, this one matching, because the last argument is long, so it's picking up that function itself. So you can easily understand how compiler is able to decide, and how, first of all, how runtime is able to invoke. And that's because during compilation time also I didn't get any error. As simple, because of one thing, that is, if when we call this add function, generally compiler has a tendency to look at which function this guy is trying to invoke, and then it binds this function call with the function itself, right? This is known as function binding. Now during runtime, then it becomes easier for the C# runtime to, or the .NET runtime, there is nothing called C# runtime, so the CLR or the .NET runtime can easily invoke this function, as because compile time has done half of the job. It has decided which function to be called, isn't it? This kind of polymorphism is known as compile time polymorphism. This is one type of the polymorphism known as compile time polymorphism. In this polymorphism, uh, compiler can take a call which function call to bind this particular line, or the function call line to be bound to which function exactly. That means it has to first of all distinguish between all this function. It has to be able to distinguish between them by their signature, and the signature difference includes either the signature difference can be performed via the number of arguments, number 2 the data type of the arguments, number 3 the position of those arguments where the data types are different, right? This is how this polymorphism has been achieved, and one of the polymorphism example is function overloading. Okay, the term function overloading because the same function has been written again and again, so that means it has been overloaded. Another example is operator overloading, right? In operator overloading, how we do that job, let me tell you here in this case itself. So right now, suppose say I have a class. Let me add a separate class file here, and maybe I'll do it in that what do you say, in the employee UI application itself. I have seen that I have different types of employees, right? So what I'm going to do is that in the employee UI, I'm going to add a class file here, or maybe in the employee class itself, in the library itself I can do that. So you want to compare between two employee instances, or you want to compare, for example, you want to compare between two developer instances. What my point is? My point is simply to say that from your main function in that employee UI, suppose you have created two developer instances. One is this, and the other one is say this one is Anil developer, and the other one is Sunil developer, right? And in that case, your argument will be slightly different. Here I'm passing etc etc, and obviously I have to change the code here. Anil developer dot calculate salary, and I've created a Sunil developer. Calculating the salary is not my main motive, so I'm going to comment this code here. What my main motive is that I'd like to compare between these two. I would like to see here if Anil developer is equal to Sunil developer or not. How do you compare all these things? Equal operator. Sorry, I have written triple equal, quite like JavaScript, forgive me. So this equal operator, okay? Or suppose say if there is a class, for example, you have got two operands and you want to apply addition on those two operands, etc. So whatever it is, the fact is here you want to compare between these two. What does it mean by equal equal sign? You know very well that if I write this line, they will never be same, as because these two are two different variable and they are pointing to two different objects, so their reference will never be same. But what my agenda is to check whether Anil developer and Sunil developer have ditto same attribute values or not. It is quite possible that I have created two different objects whose attribute values are same, and then I want to say that this is a duplicate object. Say for example, you have an array of developer class instances. So you declare an array like this way: developers is equal to new developer, and you want to store around 4 developers in it. And one of the developers is in the 0th index, you have added Anil developer, and then you have gone ahead and added another one by the name Sunil developer. From my code, it's quite understandable. They are not same, I understand. But in array, if dynamically data are being pushed, means references are being pushed over there, then I'd not like to have two duplicate employees. Maybe I want in this array to write some kind of code, iterate through that array and pick up whether the employee references are same or not, or employees, not only references same, all the employees attribute values are same or not, so that I can avoid adding a duplicate record in the developer's array, right? I can also, while before adding, I can check whether the developer contains already the same developer or not, means not only instance wise but the attribute value wise also they are same or not. I can compare that and then allow you to add it into that array. You can do this kind of thing, right? In that case, you have to compare between them. So operator overloading suggests that this is how it can be achieved. In developer class, you guys can overload this equal operator, and how it can be done is, so for example, in this developer class, I'm going to write this, and this is how operator overloading can be done. What does it mean by operator overloading, by the way? As you know, this plus operator can be used. For example, a plus operator can be used to add two numbers, right? Say I have got integer x, and which is equal to 12 and 13, or you can see it from the addition itself, right? From the addition itself, you can see that I have two integers which I'm adding side by side. You can understand also, if in this addition class I have got public and void, then say add, and it takes two arguments, str1 and string str2, right? In that case, what will be the result of addition here? Str1 plus str2. It will be none other than that you are concatenating them. So depending on the operands, what happens is that plus operator is doing different kind of job. It is concatenating these two values, whereas it is practically adding these value types, isn't it? So this is what the same operator is doing to different kind of job depending on the type of operand supplied to its left and right hand side. Exactly, that is what I need here in my application too, where I need it here like Anil developer and Sunil developer. On the left hand side of the equality operator, I have Anil developer. On the right hand side, I also have Anil developer. So this is how you guys can write it. Go back to developer class, and over there start writing the operator overloading code. And this is how you overload an operator. It gives a meaning to this developer class, that whenever equality operator is used, on the left hand side one developer instance, another side another developer instance, what you should do. So simply this is how you write it. Any kind of operator that is needed to be overloaded is written in this way: static keyword, then operator. This is the keyword we write here. Sorry, first of all, obviously the return type, it's going to be boolean, and then the keyword operator, and then the operator name, and then two arguments over there. One is developer, okay, say first, or the left, on the left hand side developer, and then once again developer, which is on the right hand side. And you are going to write over there return boolean when that developer left, right, what happens to it, as simple as that, right? So what I want to do here is that compare between these developer instances over there, and in order to do that, what I can do is that I can write over there if left is equal right or not, in the sense, or right, yeah, left is equal right or not. In that case, if the reference is same, you are returning true anyway, right? Then apart from that, if they are not same, correct, and then what you are going to do, you are going to most probably check each and every attribute, like left dot employee id is by chance same to that right or not, right dot employee id. And in that case, if it's same, you are going to return not true. Then you are going to check few other things, like if employee id is same, then and you are going to return with if each and every operator. So here it is going to be that if, sorry, my mistake, if that is same, then once again left dot employee name is same. You can get the feeling what I'm talking about. Means you have to check each and every attribute is same or not, right? Employee name, and then it's going to be blah blah blah. You can understand that you have to compare between all of them, whether they are same or not, same or not, same or not. If all the values are same, then you are going to return here true, else you are going to return at the end of the day false, like this way, isn't it? This is what is the logic. That means on that operator, if you are giving a left and right, I'm going to check here. For the timing, I have just checked employee ID and employee name. You guys can complete that code by writing rest of the attributes, because I have so many attributes right now. But it shows a compilation error kind of thing. Have you noticed that it's required its matching parameter also not equal also to be defined? That means you cannot just leave it. This kind of operators come in pair. So if you are going to write it, you have to write it for the not equal operator also. So once again boolean, once again operator keyword, and then not equal operator, then again developer left and developer right, right, in this way. And then you can write the logic over there, what should be done using not equal operator if they are not equal. And how do you check the not equal? Obviously you can call this operator and invoke this. You can just say if left equal right, in this way, right, in this sense. You can call this equality operator once again, which has, you have actually practically given a new meaning to it. So you can check these references are not equal, then you can say whatever is your logic is that you are going to return. If their reference is not equal, then return say true here. Okay, yeah, they are not equal. So if they are not equal, what you should do, it's up to you. Okay, and also you can check over there if any of the value is different. So for example, if I say left dot employee ID is, or employee basic pay employee ID not equal the right dot employee ID, that means they are not equal once again, isn't it? So in that case, I'm going to return here no, they are not equal. So here I'm going to say true, and I'm not writing the rest of the part. We should write the entire thing, comparison between everything over there. So return false in this way. So I'm just comparing right now. I'll just compare based on the employee ID itself. That's all. If the employee ID is same, that means they are same. If not same, then that means they are not same, right? This is how it is. I'm going to write it. So this is how you actually overload the operators. Let me check from here, from my application program.cs. We're going to check it here if Anil developer equal to Sunil developer or not, and we are going to write here they are same, uh, and we'll test it for the second one also. So let me just set this UI application as and compile the entire solution maybe, and then set this employee UI as a startup project and start debugging it also. So right now what I'm going to do is that showing you once again line by line execution. First you are creating an instance of developer, call goes to developer constructor, from the static constructor of base to the parameters constructor of base, all the values are assigned as you can see, and then incentive pay is assigned. You are back to the main function. Then Sunil developer, again the same drama, goes to the developer parameterized constructor, from their parameterized constructor of the base. Look at this time static constructor didn't get invoked, right? And then all these values are getting assigned to that particular instance members, and then we are checking Anil developer equal Sunil developer or not, and the call moves over here. I have a stack overflow exception which I need to handle, correct? So that I'll do here. It is equal operator which we are going to kind of override here, isn't it? So how do you override is that the problem is right now equal operator I should not check in this way. Practically it called the stack overflow, which I'll rectify and come back to you once again later in this video.